Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Ari, and today we're going to have some more stories about our toxic life. But before we start, it would be so much appreciated if you would subscribe to my channel, like the video, if you enjoy it, and maybe leave a comment down below. These simple clicks would mean a lot to the future of this channel and really reward the effort that I put in every day. And now without further ado, let's go. Today's first story. In this story, Opie, previously infertile due to cancer, proposed to Lily, who claimed to be pregnant. At the baby shower, he discovered Lily and his brother Louis were having an affair, leading to the cancellation of the wedding. Lily became homeless, seeking his support, but he distanced himself, emphasizing the consequences of her actions. He faces the betrayal of his brother and the shattered dream of starting a family. Now let's get into the story. I'm about to tell you one messed up story that I can't believe happened to me first. Let's start off with some background information. I had a really big family with lots of siblings, uncles, aunts, cousins, and spouses and offspring of those relatives. We had lots of family gatherings and big dinners ever since we started dating. I would bring Laylee, my girlfriend then wife, to lots of social family events. I was 34 and Lily, my future wife, was 31 when I proposed. In my parents' opinion, I made them wait a very long time for this to happen. So when we got engaged, they hosted a really big engagement party with all my relatives in attendance. Layla didn't have any family. At first, it was hard for me to believe, but she really didn't have any family. She had foster parents that moved away as soon as she turned 18 and started living on her own. Before I proposed, I warned Lily that I could not have children of my own. I became a cancer survivor by the age of 14, and infertility was one of the consequences from that. She told me she didn't mind, and we would adopt if we ever wished to have children. The engagement party was a huge success. It was a wonderful night for both of us, surrounded by friends and my now supposedly our family. I was so relieved to have found the woman I wanted to spend my life with. 1 month after our engagement party, I got the greatest surprise of my life. Lately told me she was pregnant. I was ecstatic. I didn't know how it was possible. I only accepted it as a miracle. I called my parents and told them right away. I had to move the phone away from my ear because of their excited screams. It came as no surprise when my parents couldn't contain their excitement anymore and sent out invites to a baby shower. When we looked at the invites my mom designed, my fiancée looked disheartened. She blamed it on pregnancy hormones, but I could have sworn she felt shame or embarrassment. I couldn't imagine why, and I tried to ask if this was the case, but she assured me she was fine. During the party, I was on cloud 9. I was practically high in life and becoming a father, so I didn't realize my fiancée was gone for a bit. My younger brother pulled me aside and told me I needed to see my fiancée. I was immediately concerned. We went upstairs and stopped just outside the spare bedroom door. Could hear her crying and softly speaking to someone, another man. This man, I quickly realized, sounded exactly like my older brother. I looked at my younger brother Tommy, with my jaw dropped as I listened, completely stunned. His expression seemed to acknowledge that he knew the man in the bedroom with my fiancée was our oldest brother, Louis. Louis was furious. He was calling Layla names, telling her that she should have taken Plan B or had an abortion instead of telling me she was pregnant. He said they were in one hell of a mess because of her stupidity. He offered the reasoning that since they couldn't tell anyone the baby was his, maybe she could fall down the stairs or do something to Miss Gary. Lily was the first one to come out, and we stared at each other. Louis came out shortly after, hopefully not planning to push Lily down the stairs, and froze when he saw us. I was having an out-of-body experience when I attacked my brother. I don't remember the moments I was beating him, but I do remember when 5 of my family members pulled me off of him. That's when I realized there was lots of yelling and crawling, lots of questions and accusations. I looked Lily in the eyes through all the people crowding the hallway. When I announced that the wedding was off, I stumbled down on the stairs. So Tommy came to my side and drove me to his apartment. Apparently, the mass chaos took a while to simmer down after I left, since I discovered them and the secret was out. Louis announced that he was the father of Lily's child. Everyone gasped. Some people cried. Many of my cousins started yelling at Lewis, getting in his face and calling him out for being so self-centered and inconsiderate. Lewis didn't feel remorse for what he'd done, only that he was caught in his mind. This was Lily's problem because she didn't take care of it. Since he found all of the family criticism less than desirable, he left. He found a woman to stay within the next state over. While I grieved, my family members took turns staying with me at my house or having me stay with them at their house. My dream of getting married and having a child was gone just as quickly as it appeared. But in that short amount of time, I had invested so much hope and energy, I felt drained and discouraged. But apparently, this was nothing compared to what Lily was going through. Immediately after the hellish baby shower, she found herself homeless without me or my family's support. She was alone. After spending a few days on the streets, she managed to find a room to stay in with a roommate. She continuously messaged me, even though I would rarely reply. I was in recovery mode. It felt like I was in shock for a while after this because I was also coping with the betrayal of my brother. She would ask me to spend time with her because of how badly she wanted companionship, especially as she neared the due date of the baby without any plan or way to support it. I told her no. She needed to handle herself because this was the consequence of her choice. If she needed to, of course, she could put the child up for adoption, but that was not my concern. Today's second story. In this story, Opie suspects their wife of 20 years is cheating, noting her distant behavior and late-night interactions. She proposed separation, and the discovery of massage oil heightened suspicions. He tracked her car and found her with a friend, not the suspected person. The wife admitted to recent infidelity. Now facing divorce, he seeks advice on emotional detachment and concerns about the impact on their children. Despite kicking the wife out, she remains involved with the affair partner, adding complexity to the situation. Now let's get into the story. So I suspected for a while that my wife of 20 years, with whom I have 2 kids, has been cheating since the beginning of the year. She has been very distant and disengaged. She's always on her phone, in particular on WhatsApp. She has a close male friend, an old work colleague, who has gone through a health scare this year, and she's been by his side the whole way, every single night and most days at the hospital and his home, coming home super late each night. I started to get suspicious in March when I couldn't reach her. When she's there, she doesn't answer her phone. She said he's a good friend and I'm jealous, and she has continued to spend lots and lots of time with him. I fear this was a deeply emotional affair, possibly lasting years. By the way, I've never met him once. The kids and her mother have, though I couldn't shake the suspicion. My gut kept telling me something wasn't right. She was super disengaged with me, not physically or cuddly in any way at all. She came out and said she wanted a 3-month separation around April, and I said, no, we should work on things. But we never worked on anything. I could never talk to her about anything deep. There are countless other red flags other than hiding her phone, changing the password, deleting messages from her friend on WhatsApp, and using cash all the time. Where she used to use a card so we could accrue frequent flyer points for holidays. Anyway, she asked about a separation again in July, and I said yes, but she didn't take action, making it seem like I should look around for a place for her. I don't think that's my responsibility, so I said that was for her to do. Just over a week ago, she said we should separate for good, both 3 months, as she always feels anxious around me. My radar has been up lately, and I'm constantly anxious around her. Funny she would say that, so I know 100% she wants out. She said she doesn't love me anymore, but she wants to separate with us still being friends, and she doesn't want the money, etc. We've been getting along okay for the last few days. Probably because I've been away for work this week and she knows that the end is near. Fast forward to today, and I was having a shower and going to grab some nail clippers. I saw a toiletries bag in the cupboard and my curiosity was piqued. So I opened it and there was a container of massage oil. No idea where it came from. My question is, what do I do? I have kids to think of. My mind is a mess. In some ways, I'm relieved that my gut was right. But then I'm also disgusted that she's been with someone else. Our marriage hasn't been great for a couple of years, lack of intimacy. But she should have left completely before starting something. I'm sorry if I'm rambling. Feel free to ask questions. I really just need some ideas and guidance on what to do. I know I should confront her and she will deny it, no doubt, but I'm hoping wiser minds can help me out. Update. So tonight I decided to put a tracker on her car. I know we are technically now separated for a few days, but hey, my gut still tells me something isn't right. My wife grabbed the keys and told me she was going to the gym. After the gym, she said she was going to grab some drinks. So I saw the car go to the city, and then after a few hours, it went down to a suburb by the beach and stopped there. I decided to drive down and saw the car parked. I then remembered that my GPS tracker gives me the ability to call it and listen in. Well, let me tell you, when I heard a bit saying you're amazing, my blood boiled and I just lost it. I stormed up to the car and opened the door and couldn't believe it. But it was her with a mate of mine, not the guy. I thought I was going to bring this guy into my business. That's how much I trusted him. Needless to say, I yelled at her. And him. She was very defensive, saying, we were now separated and had been for a few days, but he was so sheepish. It felt good to be in a position of power for once, and now I know my gut is right. She has moved on. She admitted to most stuff, but said it's only been going on for a couple of weeks, which I do not believe at all. This has been going on longer than that for sure. I told her not to come home and that I didn't want her in the house at all, but I can see she's parked the car right near our house. She can stay there as far as I'm concerned. I told the AP that he has 12 hours to tell his wife or I will. I know their marriage was pretty rocky, but my wife is one of her best friends, so this is going to be devastating for her. I'm from a no-fault state, so I can't use any of this to my advantage other than now I know why she was so calm about breaking up with me. Update 2. If you read my post history, you'll understand the background. Things are now tenuous as she can't go out in the community to shop and is staying at our place for a couple of nights whilst I'm away on business. She can't go to the shops for the smallest thing. I had to do grocery shopping before I left this morning. Now she wants a drink, and there isn't any left, and because she can't go down to the shops to buy a bottle, I'm being blamed for forcing her AP to tell his wife. For some reason, they feel that it would have been easier if it had been done in a couple of months, as they had a plan of both separating from their spouses and then having some time before announcing anything. Not that it would have done any good. The question is, how do I keep my cool whilst trying to separate assets, etc., and not firing back responses that will inflame the situation, such as, well, you shouldn't have screwed one of your best friend's husband in the first place. She won't take any responsibility at all for this whole tobacco. She could have just left our relationship with dignity and maybe found herself for a while, but she didn't do that. I feel completely helpless in this scenario. I'm the one bending over and taking this and not giving anything back at all. We have kids involved. She's always going to be like this. I just want to be as calm as possible and create an environment where we are both caring for the kids in the long run. Final update. So I kicked out my wife a couple of weeks ago for cheating on me with her best friend's husband. See my post history for details. Anyway, she told me she wasn't borrowing her father's car anymore, so she can't help drop our son off at school. And she said she isn't living with AP yet. I drove past a mutual friend's place where she has been living, and I found her father's car and his car there. I'm proceeding with divorce as quickly as I can, but it incenses me that I keep getting lied to. I'm still emotionally invested in her. How do I detach myself and get rid of this psychotic liar? I was all happy to do 50-50 before, but now I'm not sure I should roll over as she's not a good example for the children. Do they need to see him now as their father and know what she's truly like? I'm sorry you're going through this.